Okay, so welcome to day 4 of what are we doing? A celebration of difference, being the wonderful weirdo that you truly be. So one of the things I want to talk today about that I think might kind of address a lot of the questions that you guys have had, because we could look at this conversation of being a wonderful weirdo, and being different and being an X-Men, however you want to call it. You can apply. One of the things I love to do is apply it with different areas of life, like to look at, okay, what's it like to be an X-Men in business with creation? What's an X-Men kind of like conversation, reality, et cetera, with business or with money or with our bodies or with parenting or whatever. So it's really fun to like dive into and just like explore that, because your awareness is so different. Your reality is so different, that you're going to be like the thing we talked yesterday. We talked a lot about kindness and caring. Now, if you look at that with business and money, business and money is like, in this reality, it's, if you try to do business and money like this reality does it, which is like, very form and structure, very linear, very much about getting a result. I remember at one point, my dad and I were talking about investing in the stock market, and he said, you need to like separate your ethics from your investments, and I was like, what? I can't do that. Like that doesn't, and I was looking at investing in some companies that I was really excited about, at the time. And he was like, no, you need to not do that, because you want to just look at, where's the money. And the funny thing is it turned out that what I wanted to invest in that I didn't end up investing in it actually was this little company that got bought by another company and turned into Amazon stock. Which would have been very, very a great investment, like a phenomenal investment. So it's, just one example where like following what even if it doesn't make sense in this linear reality, but going, hey, I'd like to actually do what's going to work for me. What if I could actually create business from the kindness of me? What if I could actually create money from caring and contribution, on all these different energies, all these different things in our lives? That's the only thing that's actually going to work. And part of that is just that, like, it's your unique being that is creating your life and living. It's creating, your reality actually based on, how you see things and what and your awareness and what your perspective is. And so when you try to do something else, like parenting, like coaching, that was always, I did some coaching around being a parent at one point, even though I have a degree in child development and all the stuff and social work and blah, blah. But still like got a coach and was like, okay, I need some help. But it never made sense to me, because it wasn't coming from me and what I know. That the person who was coaching me wasn't asking me, what's true for you with your children? What's true for you with business? What's true for you with money? What's true for you with your body? And that's where you've got to go to this place of knowing that and knowing what because nobody else can tell you what's your reality with all of those things. Your reality, period, is this very undefined reality, that is about energy, space, and consciousness. It's about the awareness of you. It's about what it's about what's true for you. And you're not going to find that anywhere in the world by looking for it, because it's yours to discover, to uncover, to wonder about, to play in and with. So it's yours to play with, and as, like your perspective and your awareness is so unique to you, because you are a unique being. And so for somebody else to tell you how to do something or what's going to work, it's like, it doesn't make any sense, because unless they're looking with you and through your eyes and looking at the uniqueness of how you function, it's probably going to be somebody who's going to tell you what to do. Are you looking for the world to, like, you're looking to refer to the structures of the world to figure out, how do I do business? How do I do money? How do I do stuff with my body? Whatever it is, rather than going, well, wait a minute, hold on. What if none of that even really applies to me? I can still receive from it and engage with it and interact with it and take the parts that work. But, what's true for me here that I've never seen before? And this is where the potency of your awareness is just huge. I mean, it's really like, your awareness it's massive, and it's your greatest gift, and it's your greatest treasure, and it's also the thing that we actually just, I have to turn this thing off. It's popping up stuff in my face. Okay. It's the thing that we're least sort of educated about and encouraged to explore as children, growing up in the world, having conversations with other people. It's like, we grow up with the least amount of focus on, hey, what do you know? What's true for you? And more about being taught about the world, and that's why there's so many people walking around that aren't willing to know what they know and to know that they know. And the whole target of Access Consciousness is empowering people to know that they know. But it's such an endeavor to choose that and to create that as your reality, because you don't have any reference point for it. It's not like anybody has ever sat us down and, and that's one of the things I love about Access Consciousness is the classes, the conversations, they're all about, hey, what do you know? What's true for you? And that's such an undefined reality that most people don't even know how to begin to explore that, and then there are these super pragmatic tools in Access Consciousness where it's like, well, here's how you can begin to explore it. You can ask this question and you can play with this and you can use this tool and you can say, who does this belong to? And you can use interesting point of view. And then you can ask this question and you can ask millions of questions, and then you can choose and receive, then you can have your bars right. There's just, as those of you who know about Access Consciousness, that it's like sort of an unlimited supply of tools, and they're all very pragmatic. You can pick them up and use them and they work. And this is how we begin to construct and to not even construct, but just we begin to have a sense of this undefined reality that's so true for us, that when you live from that place, it's wildly pragmatic. It doesn't seem like it would be because there's nothing to really grab a hold of, but it's wildly pragmatic to be like, okay, so what is it that I know? It's kind of like what I was saying about my investment idea. I was like, there was this little company called Whole Foods Market in Boulder where I lived. It was a little natural food store. There was a few of them in the US. This was a long time ago. This was maybe 30 years ago. 25 years ago, something like that. And they went public and I was like, oh, I'd like to buy stock in that company because I really like that company and I buy my groceries there and it makes sense to me, I'd like to support a company that contributes to me, that was my, where I kind of like my perspective on investing at that point was like, company that makes sense to me, a company that contributes to me, that I like what they're doing in the world. I'd like to invest my money in that, and it was light. There was just this lightness to it. And my dad talked me out of it. He was like, no, blah, blah, it's not a good idea, da, 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 da. He was looking from a different point of view. Well, Wild Oats Market got bought by Whole Foods, which got bought by Amazon, So if I had, done that and I had, just let it sit, it would have multiplied many, 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 many times. It's not about having any regrets or anything like that ever, but it's just to look at that and go, wow, I knew something. And that was me functioning from what was true for me. And if I had chosen that, it would have created actually a lot of money. but it wouldn't have been from the same way that people would reproach it coming from more linearity. It was more coming from my knowing, and I could tell you a lot of stories like that where I was like, oh, I need to do this with my money. And then I didn't. And then, I was like, oh, that would have been a really good thing to do, So this is where you want to, like, no matter what it is that is popping for you as your awareness is something that it's like, what if you really were willing to follow it, and to know that your awareness is your energetic spidey senses, that's like the greatest gift that you have. It's the greatest tool that you have. It's the greatest power and potency that you have. And as an X-Men, a wonderful weirdo, a humanoid, somebody who's different, you've got a lot of awareness, a lot more than most people in the world. You have so much awareness. And one of the things that we do is we turn it into all these things where we turn it into physical disease or, like a reality with our body that doesn't work, or we mess up our money flows because we're not willing to have the awareness, or we're not able to create our business because because you have to spend so much energy working against yourself with awareness. You have to spend so much energy. Did I say energy? I think I said energy. You have to spend so much energy working against yourself with your awareness, that like all that energy that could be harnessed to create with, and to just, if you were willing to be so chaotic that you just go, this is going to contribute, this is going to contribute, I'm going to do this, 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 I'm going to do this. If you were willing to do all of those things and move in that direction, without stopping yourself, without slowing yourself down, by like moving with the speed of space that you actually be, then what unfolds and what opens up is more always. And it may not look like that always at the very outset. Like sometimes things appear and they're not as, they don't seem to be as great as they end up being. But that's where if you don't have a point of view and you just are willing to ask questions, you can have a different perspective on things. And you start to wonder, like, what's right about this? And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh, this is what I was asking for. It just showed up differently than I thought it would, which is one of the greatest gifts. So there's a lot here in this video. But let me just distill it down to basically, and if you're still here listening to this, some stuff, people, now, what would it be like to put that at the helm, to put yourself at the helm as he or she or they, or, like a creature who knows so much more than you've ever given yourself credit for, so much more than anybody in the world might ever give you credit for. So much. And that can be, there's a lot more we could talk about with that. Like that could be kind of intimidating and it could be scary and but really, usually those are the things that we do to distract us from the potency of that. But the potency of you, the potency of your awareness is massive. And the journey of these tools and these explorations of consciousness is actually just really getting to that more and more, knowing that more and more all the time, knowing that, living that, being that, having that be your North Star, your awareness. That little gut feeling, that intuition, that flutter, that sense of gotta do this, and usually it's so light and so fast and so quick and so nondescript and undefined that we don't follow it. What would it be like if you just followed it and followed it and followed it and followed it, and you had no idea how it was going to get created, but you just went for it. That's where we create a lot of magic, a lot of miracles. And your awareness, like shining the light of your awareness on everything around you, makes everything greater. No matter what it looks like, it makes everything greater. And you have this incredible potency that is your being. So play with that, play with this, like, what is it that I know? What is actually true for me here? And what's available to me that I've never considered. And see, and act on things, like just do it, act on things that you get a hit, Yeah, this. Go for it. Just go for it. See where it goes. You're not going to destroy your life. You're side note, you're going to make it way greater. But even if you're like, oh my God, I might fuck something up. Okay, well, whatever. Just play with it, experiment, see how it shows up, see how you show up, see how your life, how much lightness you can bring into your world in one day by doing that, and I'll be back tomorrow and the next day, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It'll be fun to be with you guys. And also I want to let everybody know I'm doing a lot of you guys know this already, but I'm doing a 2-day X-Men class, Disabilities or Abilities, January 1st and 2nd. So next weekend, New Year's Day and the day after. It's going to be online and it's going to be here in my home in Boulder. We'll have a little party here if you come live. So we're going to there's a lot of X-Men stuff coming up. There's an X-Men in Business telecall in January. There's Generative Business Pods starting in January, which is about being undefined. So there's a lot of cool conversations coming up. But if you really want to dive into a lot more around this X-Men conversation, specifically this 2-day class is a phenomenal journey into I've never seen people get out of judgment of themselves and into the greatness of themselves as fast as I do in this particular class. There's something really magical about how it just takes everything and flips it on its head. And 2 days later, you're like, wow. How did I get to be so cool? It's really quite a treasure, this particular class. So, we'll put the link and stuff in the chat for you guys. If you want to look into it more, you have to have had an Access Consciousness Foundation class or a 1-day X-Men class to take the 2-day X-Men class. So there's a prerequisite. But yeah, how much fun can you have with your amazing awareness? It's not a burden. It's a gift if you're willing to see it like that. I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for being here, for being you. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye guys. Have fun. Have way more fun than you're supposed to.